Good evening and welcome to the Worldwide End Time Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Brian DeLory, and I thank you all for tuning into the program this evening. And on today's program, I'm going to be continuing my message from yesterday, Addiction is not a disease, it's a choice. So this is part 2 and will be the final installment of that message. Yesterday I talked about personal experience I'm going through with a friend who is addicted to alcohol. I also spoke on other addictions, alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, whatever it is. It's a choice. It's not a disease. But today I'm going to be speaking about the addiction to murder. Now you might wonder, why are you doing that? I mean, how many people are addicted to murder? Well, I don't know. I didn't research it well enough to find out the statistics, but all we know is that murder is on the rise. Now I'm not talking about just murder in general. You know, most people, they have a grudge against somebody for whatever reason, and so they kill that person. So they at least have a rationale for the murder. I'm not advocating that. I don't agree with that, but that's usually the way it is. But there are some people in this world who like to murder for fun. It's fun to them to kill people, to hurt people. And I believe that Satan has somehow tied, and they're known as serial killers. So I believe Satan has somehow tied sex into murder, because most of them they have some sexual fetish, and murder is what they enjoy. So murder is the fetish. So Satan has somehow tied murder in with the sexual nature of man. I don't know exactly how all that works, but I believe that's what has happened. And so tonight I'm going to be talking about that. And I mentioned last night at the end of the program that I have a website I just began earlier this week called the Crimes of the Zodiac. That is CRIMES of the Zodiac.com. Not the crimes of the Zodiac.com. And if you type that into your browser, you will come upon my website, and it's still under construction, but I have most of it done. The vast majority of it is done, and it's, of course, about the Zodiac Killer. And the reason I chose him, because he's outside of Ted Bundy, he's just about the most notorious killer or serial killer we've known. For the main reason, I believe, is that he's never been caught. Nobody knows who he is. Many suspects have been named, but there has been no solid evidence linking any of them to these crimes. The one prime suspect in that case, Arthur Lee Allen, everybody figured he was the one, and the circumstantial evidence against him was unbelievable. But yet, the Zodiac used to send a lot of letters to newspapers, and of course put stamps on the newspaper, so they took DNA profiles from the stamps of the letters, and they actually managed to develop a DNA profile even after like 30 years, and the DNA profile was matched against Arthur Lee Allen's DNA. He's been deceased since 92, and it didn't match. There were one fingerprint was left at one crime scene, and it did not match him. The handwriting of the letters did not match him. The palm prints on the letters did not match him. So, being the prime suspect, he was ruled out. And so I've heard a lot about other suspects, and for me, they just don't work. Now, I know there are people who are really into this stuff, and they have selected a person of interest for them, and in their minds, there's no way that they're not the killer. My personal opinion is that the Zodiac Killer was someone who remained anonymous. He was not ever even on the radar of the police. He was never even under suspicion. So that's my personal opinion. But this man sent several letters into, I think it was over 20 in a period of about 6 years. And by the way, he's only officially considered responsible for 5 murders. But it is believed by most, and I agree, that there were other murders committed in the 60s for which he is guilty. I believe that the circumstantial evidence, the similarities in the MOs seem to indicate that it is the same person. Sending letters to newspapers, that actually began back in 1966, not 1969. So I believe he's the one, the Zodiac Killer. He's responsible for those crimes, other than the ones that are attributed to him officially. But anyhow, be that as it may, in his letters to the police, you get some insight into the sick and twisted mind of a psychopathic serial killer. And the man made it very clear that he enjoyed killing. Now, the book of Galatians tells us that murder is a work of the flesh. But I do believe that when you get into the flesh, you can open up the door to the devil and become demon-possessed, or at least heavily under the power of demon spirits that can drive you to do this. And I believe that's what happened to this man. Now, there are those who believe that he is dead. I do not. In fact, there is a lawyer, a disbarred lawyer in California, who claims that a man claiming to be the Zodiac Killer came to him and said, "I want you to please help me. I need to stop. I don't want to kill anymore." And that was back in 1972. Now, because of confidentiality reasons, he's refused to name the person, but he did say he was in the military, which is one of the aspects of the Zodiac case that police have zeroed in on, because of the shoes he wore at one crime scene. They're a military-type shoe, and so they believe he could be, not that he is, but that he is a person who has been in the military. Also, he sent many ciphers or cryptograms to police, and you have to have knowledge of those things in order for them to be able to do that, and he did, obviously, and and that comes from someone who's been in the military. It doesn't have to necessarily be someone from the military, but they teach that sort of stuff in the military. So that's why they believe he is someone with a military background. But whatever the case may be, the man committed 5 murders and disappeared. His last authenticated correspondence was sent to the San Francisco Chronicle in, I believe, July of 1974, and after that, his letters ceased. Now, they did receive some letters in 1978, but experts, they've been deemed as hoaxes by handwriting experts. So whether that or not that was him, I don't know. I've seen the letters. I have them posted on my site, and they are definitely very similar in writing, in terms of the writing style, to the Zodiac Killer. So I don't know. I just don't know. But my point is, the man seemed to have gotten away with this. Now, remember this, as Christians, we know that whatever you do in this life, there are things that God sometimes allows people to get away with for their entire lives. But you will answer to them you will answer for those things in eternity. you will pay the price. God will hold you accountable. But for some reason, and it's not something I fully understand, the Bible tells us that the secret things belong unto the Lord. Why God doesn't make sure that this man is brought to justice somehow, I don't know. But he's not the only killer who's gotten away with murder in this life. But there are things that God allows that we don't understand, and we just have to accept that, we're finite beings. We are not God. Our thoughts, his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and his ways are higher than our ways. So God has his reasons. I mean, for example, we know that Jack the Ripper was never caught. But I can guarantee you that Jack the Ripper is paying the price in eternity for all those prostitutes he killed. And as I stated a few minutes ago, many believe that the Zodiac Killer is dead or may be dead. And if that is the case, then he didn't get away with anything. He's paying the price in eternity. But I don't have any real reason to believe he's deceased. First of all, the ages given to police by the victims of this man ranged from about 22 to 30. So let's just say he was 30. At this point, he'd be 76. But if he was 22, he'd only be like 66. So he's either in his late 60s or middle 70s at this point if he's still living. And one thing that bothers me most about this is that the man has one thing he's been able to do is go on with his life while the families of the victims suffer. And he's enjoying, if he is alive, he's enjoying his life, or, he's enjoyed it for the most part. I mean, at this point, if he's as old as he could be, he may not be enjoying it so much. He may be in a lot of physical suffering, but at the same time, nobody knows. But this man was clearly addicted to murder. In one of his letters, he referred to these crimes took place in the Northern California area, in the cities of Benicia, Vallejo, Lake Berryessa, and San Francisco. And in one of his letters, he mentions what he referred to as the good times I've been having in Vallejo. And there were a couple of murders committed in Vallejo for which he claimed responsibility. I mean, he actually called the police after the crimes were committed and said, there are people who have been shot over here, and I'm the one who did it. So he's definitely was enjoying what he was doing, and that is evidence of an addiction. And so, but one thing I wanted to point out is the book of Revelation tells us that at the time of the Antichrist, that there will be those alive on the earth who have not repented of their murders. I mean, murder is going to be one of the signs of the times. Not just a Zodiac Killer, he's just one in millions of murderers that roam the planet as we speak. We have murderers in ISIS. They're all murderers. They kill everybody. I mean, you think the Zodiac Killer was bad. I mean, these guys, they kill everything. Everything they see, kill, 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 kill. That's what they want to do. Now, I have to tell you this. Back in I believe it was August or September of 2014, I wrote an article on addiction is not a disease, it's a choice, on a Facebook, in an article I posted on my Facebook page. And, did they come out of the come out of the woodwork to criticize me. All these people criticized me, called me names, and told me how I was wrong, and I would tell them or say to them, okay, show me where I'm wrong. I mean, I'm open to discussion. If you want to discuss it intelligently, let's discuss it. You say I'm wrong, show me where. I don't know, but you're just wrong. That's the kind of stupid response you get from stupid people. Stupid, 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 stupid. They don't know anything. And so, have they all been to Bible college? No. And then when you see them on a supposedly Christian site, all they can talk about is things of the world. And yet when it comes down to discussing intelligently a subject such as addiction, all they know is that you're wrong because they bought the Dr. Phil version of addiction. It's a disease. It's not a choice. They don't have a choice. You got to be kidding me. And yet this is what these idiots believe. And I have to be honest with you, it really upset me that people could be so stupid. I don't care if people disagree with me. Offer a cogent argument for why you disagree. But these people said nothing of substance about why they disagree with me. They just disagree with me and they just knew I was wrong, but they couldn't offer one scintilla of evidence as to why I was wrong. I'm telling you, all addictions, whether it's addiction to sex, alcohol, drugs, murder, or anything else, all begin with a choice. You know, those things, your flesh begins to rise up and you begin to think, I'd like to drink, I'd like to smoke, I'd like to take drugs, I'd like to kill somebody, I'd like to, whatever. And they begin working on the mind. Well, you have to suppress those desires, and if, particularly as a Christian, you still have a flesh. You can do anything you want because the flesh is always there and you have to put it under. You have to bring it under control. And that's what these messages I've been bringing to you the past couple of days are about. I usually teach on subjects related to Bible prophecy, which the next message will be something related to that. But this is something that I needed to share with everybody because people are dealing with addictions. Many Christians are dealing with addictions. And I would just say to you, if you're a Christian and you're having trouble with an addiction, go see your pastor. I mean, you got to talk to somebody. You got to get some help. You got to get that spiritual support because when you're trying to fight this battle, by yourself, it's hard. People can get behind you and pray for you, and God will infuse his strength into your spirit. And I believe you can give up those addictions. And thankfully, there was one addiction that I had when I first became a Christian, and that was the addiction to marijuana that God supernaturally broke over my life. And it's never come back in 35 years, and I've been very fortunate. But, I suppose if I were so inclined, I could choose to smoke marijuana anytime I wanted to. But I don't choose that because I don't want that. I don't want to do that. That's not what I aspire to. I aspire to being somebody, to being an intelligent person, and being a sober person, and a person whose judgments are made from a sober mind or a sound mind. And I hope you all feel the same way, and I hope these messages have been a blessing to you. I know there's been kind of rambling, extemporaneous messages, and once again, I'm sitting in my car at work, and so I only have so much time, and I have to put these messages together on the spur of the moment, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I hope you've gotten something out of this. I hope it's helped you. And again, if you're interested in my website, and I did not do this podcast for the simple fact that I want people to go to my website. I mean, I'm not selling anything. It's just a website. It's just numbers, and I already have plenty of those. But if you want to go to the website and read about that, and maybe you know something about it that nobody else knows, you can call the respective police agencies and talk to them about it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's listening. But the website is there, crimesofthezodiac.com. And as well, I have several other websites, worldwideendtimeradio.com, americanchristianradio.org, thepropheciesofdaniel.com, endtimeworldnews.com. Oh my goodness, there's another 2 or 3 sites that I have that I can't even name right now. I'm really running out of room in my brain to remember all the names of these websites. It's unbelievable. But I'm not putting up any more. I have enough to do with the ones I have. And anyway, the ones I gave to you, you can check out. And in terms of the websites, other than the Zodiac Killer website, You can go to the links page on any of those websites, and if you so choose, you can send a donation to GoFundMe to help with the costs of maintaining the websites and everything else. So far, only one person has done that, and I'm not going to beat anybody over the head to donate to that. It's there if you would like to donate. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out to the program. I thank you all for tuning in. And as always, before I leave you with this reminder to keep the faith and defend the truth. Have a good night, everybody.